Me personally, I think I like Model Series Thomas. Railway Series Thomas is good, and CGI Series Thomas is alright, but I like the arc that Thomas goes through from Series 1 to 5, first being cheeky, but maturing along the way. My parents and family used to get me Thomas and Friends DVDs, and I used to watch Thomas on the television all the time. From then, I bought toys and books, and my collection gradually grew, and that's basically how I love Thomas. My parents to thank. I prefer British steam engines, and I like the LBSC E2, which is Thomas's basis, and their pannier tanks. Not just because it's duck though, I just like the design. My channel was originally about model railways, where I'd show off my model railway, obviously, but I wanted to focus more on making videos about Thomas, since I loved it so much. So I got inspired by other Thomas YouTubers, and I decided to make my own Thomas channel, instead of doing model railway videos, which I prefer in fact. Ooh, that's a tricky question. If I'm honest, I think my favourite episode is probably 3 Cheers for Thomas from Series 7. It's got quite a nice story. Thomas started off in Season 1 being cheeky. When he first went on his first race with Betty, he wouldn't stop at anything to not win the race basically, apart from stations. But in Series 7, he's matured from being cheeky, and he decides to sacrifice winning the race to help the children, which is just nice. Also, the model work in the story is really nice, and the music, so yeah, probably my favourite episode if I'm honest. The most underrated episode from every era, Series 1 to 7, probably the Red Balloon. Quite a nice episode in my opinion. Then Series 8 to 12, I think Cool Truckings, Madge and Duncan, and some of the model work is pretty cool in this episode. Series 13 to 16, probably Tickled Pink. I'm not sure if it's underrated, but it's a pretty good episode in my opinion. Series 17 to 21, I have to go with The Other Side of the Mountain. Great episode, and I really love the crash. Series 22 onwards, not sure, probably something like Free the Roads. And stuff I like besides Thomas, I like British stop-motion children's stuff, sort of like Fireman Sam, Postman Pat, Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep. Some of my favourites. After I read this comment, I actually did an online quiz, and turns out I'm Thomas. And this question makes me think of the It's Great to Be an Engine UK DVD, which had a Which Engine Are You DVD game. I know it's not part of the question, but I think it's a really cool game. I'm guessing you mean Season 13, Charlie, the purple engine? I think he'd probably be a bit like Thomas, probably just make lots of jokes all the time. Official content, I'd probably recommend something like Series 1. I think it's a great series, and it introduces the characters of the TV show, most of them very well. Also, if it's fan-made content, guess I'd suggest Unlucky Tug's sort of edits? I don't really know how to describe them. The sort of stories that appear in his videos, like Thomas's Odyssey or Oliver's Great Escape. I checked it out after I saw the comment, and yeah, it's pretty good, I like it. And I like the name, Rocket Rescue has a nice ring to it. Yes, I do like Lego a lot, it's pretty fun. And I really love Lego trains, obviously, because I'm the railway man. And I know earlier I said the pannier tanks and the LBSCs were my favourite type of steam engine, but if you'll talk about a singular sort of steam engine, I'd probably say the Flying Scotsman. Seen them in real life? He's very cool. My entire merchandise collection is massive. I have massive tubs full of it, including like DVDs that I put in cupboards, and books. I think if I laid it all out in a row, it would be very, very long. I've actually done a video where I show you every single Thomas I have. Go check that out if you haven't already. My favourite character from the hit era is probably someone like Mighty Mac or Stanley. I really like their design and their characters are pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of Capsule Play-Rel. I think it's very cool when the characters look nice, especially Boko. And if I had to recommend an episode to remake from Series 1, I'd probably suggest Thomas and Gordon. I mean, it is the first episode. I do think other episodes like Thomas and the Breakdown Train or Thomas and the Truck's also good though. Wow, a lot of questions here. My favourite Railway series book, and I know lots of people probably say this, but Thomas the Tank Engine. I think it's such a nice, perfect book, and shows Thomas's character arc from being cheeky to still being cheeky, but having his own railway and being wiser. Not railway, branch line, I mean. Actual favourite story is probably Thomas and the Breakdown Train. I am talking a lot about Thomas this video. Next, my favourite series is Series 7.
What?
Yes, I know people don't like this series because it's overused stock footage and some of the stories may not make a lot of sense with the timeline. But the nostalgia and the great model work and most of the stories are pretty good. I just really love this season, for some reason. Ooh, that rhymes. And my favourite episode of Thomas and Friends, like I mentioned earlier, is 3 Cheers for Thomas. I just really like this episode. Might be Thomas and the Jet Engine though, or Busy Going Backwards. I love action-packed episodes with lots of tension. I actually did some research on this question about the real-life pannier tanks, and they can pull 10 tons in wagons. And I'm not too sure what that is in trucks, but I'm not sure. He might have if it's empty, but definitely not if it's full. If you count the Ghislaine era and Thomas's trusty friends, Jack and the Pack as an era both together, definitely that, but if not the classic series. I used to always love James when I was younger, but I think I like Thomas, Percy, James and Gordon probably the best. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Edward. I don't actually know what this means, so sorry about that, but I thought I'd still include it.
Oi, you have to pay for that. Oh no, he didn't.
Yes, he would eat a sandwich. Favourite episode 3 Cheers for Thomas, and favourite movie The Great Discovery. Love the models, great plot, great characters and very nostalgic.